Like, all right, now you can hear me on the recording. Yay.
Anyway,
All right.
so this is just sort of awkward positioning. We don't have a lot of space, but this is kind of where we start to have an opportunity here, and this happens multiple times throughout the fight, where we have the opportunity to collapse on a centralized location, and we need to take advantage of it, because the only way to like start winning this fight is by forcing the enemies back by putting this pincer pressure. Because like Tat was saying, with U complex, like you can't charge forward, so you have to be able to leverage damage to force the enemies back and make space. It's a different type of space creation. So we don't really do this, and we actually wind up retreating really hard. And it could be because we don't have resources, but I'm going to take a gander real quick. So Chloe, you still have Eat, which means that's an extra 600 or 700 health that you could put on top of yours, plus a bunch of damage negated. And Complex, you still have both your cooldowns. So we shouldn't necessarily be backing up here because our tanks are still pretty full on cooldowns. Like, they're still doing pretty well. So even if we wanted to regroup here, that's still fine, but the pincer opportunity was now missed. So now we have to try to find another one where we can set up an angle to collapse on the enemies. So now this angle is starting to come through, but Complex is retreating as Chloe is pushing forward. And then the Eat comes out too late, and Simbeam just doesn't really care about the Eat. Eat, you need to use it proactively against characters like Sim or something like that, simply because they do not care about the Eat. So what you're looking to do is, like, let's say if this is your health bar, if you Eat at full health, Sim is still going to bring you down to, like, this much health, and then the Eat's going to bring you back up to full. So during the duration where she's damaging you, you're looking to just sustain and survive a lot of the time. So these are just kind of missed opportunities, miscommunicated on what we want to do. It sounds like a little bit of haphazardness, or it looks like a little bit of haphazardness, and like, oh, where are we going? What are we going after? This man is getting bullied.
Oh, one thing I did want to address very briefly. So we've been having a few issues with regrouping. Um, Typical. I heard you ask on King's Row why, but I'm not sure if that why was to the request to regroup or something else. So there was a moment on King's Row where we were being held in attacker's second spawn, and you were peeking in the doorway, and everyone called for a regroup, said like stop peeking, and you said why, but I think there was another statement that was said on top of that at the same time, so I wasn't sure what you were responding to. But do you just generally you understand regrouping and why we do it and stuff like that, how important it is? Okay. It's not just about. Okay, yeah, that's what I assumed. The biggest reason that you, yeah. Oh, yes. You went to go back in the doorway, wound up hitting the frame, wall climbed, and then you get hit by a Hanzo arrow. This is very unfortunate, but yeah, generally you regroup because of time more so. So a 5v6 is an inoptimal fight. You're more likely to lose it, so why would you take it? So when you're waiting for the regroup, you're counting seconds. So if we take too much time to regroup, we wind up actually wasting team fights because we waste the amount of time that it would have taken for us to take a team fight just standing around regrouping. So the faster we can group up, the more fights we can take, the better chance we have at winning. That's the like base summary of it. What happened just there? I was distracted by the Konosuba. Okay, so close split. That's one. Chloe is still split. We're pushing. The shield is up, but the spam is coming over the shield.
There's not enough grouping. Some body blocking probably would have been nice here, but this isn't. This is excusable. That's just unfortunate a little bit. The formation just isn't tight enough there. The Junkrat's taking advantage of the fact that we're not actively protecting multiple angles. Anything that's high or to the side is your responsibility to block. So Complex's shield is maybe a little bit far forward here. We might not want it here exactly, but because he can't block it anyway because it's too high, it winds up falling onto your shoulders. But she's not here right now, so she'll hear that later. Maybe. Okay, and then they wind up ulting and take advantage of the fact that they got a pick. And we lose because of ults and numbers advantage. Or number disadvantage, rather. Okay. 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 I'm not entirely sure why we went to the right side. Maybe. But we could have just protected better and pushed down mid, so. Ooh, Jan. Do you want to talk about that one? Okay. Yeah, it is a little unfortunate. So Typical, let me ask, what specifically were you curious about in this map? Was it we generally did bad and you wanted to know why? Was it I felt, or like you didn't understand a certain map or how to play it? Or was it like a specific fight or a few fights? Yeah. Okay. They've at this point already gotten such an alt economy on you, and you guys made like several big fight mistakes that there was nothing you could do at that last fight. Like if you managed to even get halfway to the point, I would have been pretty impressed. Um. So yeah, even though we're playing bunker, still a sim map at the end of the day. Um, what we can do is we can sim TP into the window and then just not immediately drop, and just be like, "Hey yo, what's up, homies?" um. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to play rush on this. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to play rush on this map until something changes with sim or this map. I did see that. Yeah, no, I saw a little bit of that. There was some funniness happening there. Typical was being a little funny. Is it? So what I am gonna regret saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway for the sake of going through all the information. If you are gonna commit to a flank, or if you're gonna go on a flank, commit to the flank. You going on the flank wouldn't have been nearly as bad because somehow, by the sake of Jesus or our own ability, one of the two, we're actually holding here. So I remember seeing this. You actually get 2 picks on this flank, I'm pretty sure, and you almost get a third. something like that. But you spent so long. I I thought you guys were regrouping because I just came back midway. Yeah, no, this wasn't terrible. I wouldn't recommend it ever. But what you did right there was good, right? You peek the angle, you take 2 shots, you know the diva's coming after you, so you leave. And then as soon as she leaves again, you come back with your roll cooldown, you take some shots, and you leave. And you keep doing that until you start actually getting picks and pushing the tempo. The thing is, this needs to be A, communicated so your team can try to, like, put pressure, extra pressure while you're putting pressure. And then B, it needs to just be like you need to just go into it. And this can actually lead us into another conversation we can have really quick about just how we are putting pressure and the time, the way that we're like putting our damage through and stuff like that. Welcome back, Chloe. Or, yeah. Everybody has the chillin' name, so it's fucking hard sometimes. But when we are playing normally, right? You're always looking to maximize the amount of value you get over the duration of an entire game, right? So if your Hanzo is the easiest example for me to use, Stormbow, right? You will use Stormbow off cooldown in ranked. In team settings, you do not use Stormbow off cooldown because it is great for kill confirmations. So you save Stormbow to synchronize it with pull. You use Stormbow to synchronize it with an ultimate for follow-up. Use Stormbow to synchronize it with the flank so that you can put pressure on 2 angles at the same time and burst damage. That doesn't mean you never use Stormbow until those opportune situation comes up. But more often than not, we should be finding that a lot of the cooldowns that we have available to us have more optimal situations that we can be using them in. And they're so frequent that most of the time we won't just spam Stormbow into a shield, right? Like most of the time there's something more to do with it, especially in this composition. If someone's discorded and you pop Stormbow, because you only have a small window to shoot and you're not going to take the time to actually draw the bow because that might actually give them enough time to get to cover, that is a big difference, right? That's a big changer. If you're going to save Rock for making sure that you use it every time that the diva dives into your backline, so you only use it to punish and stuff like that, then that's a big use of Rock. It's much better than just throwing it to confirm a kill when you could have used the primary fire. Same thing for like any cooldown based ability, really. I was gonna look at the supports and say something, but our supports don't really have cooldowns like that. Welcome back, Frosty. I apologize. I had to blow my nose. You do be yeeting though. So this was almost really good. We got a good first pick here. Our tanks are a little bit low, but we have both of our supports. I'm not... Frosty, why were you playing Mercy in this? Any particular reason? Okay. Alright, so our tanks are a little bit low. We still have both of our supports, so we can stabilize here. We get a first pick. We have Typical in a good position now on the flank. He's putting pressure, but then they're able to push into us. So this is the part that it actually, like, now we have to swing into this a little bit harder. So instead of letting this Lucio come to you, if you had flashed the Lucio over here or pushed forward into their team, there's actually a super low health Doomfist and a super low health Diva that you can essentially confirm 3 kills because the Lucio's going to get stun fanned, the Doomfist is 1-shot, the Diva's big body 2-shot, right? But because you take so much time to kind of like swing these angles and you don't coordinate it with the team, you wind up getting into this situation where you're not following up on anything anymore. And now the Diva's just going to make your life a living hell, unfortunately. She do be defense matrixing, though. Not me. Okay. So, alright. I respect it. I don't know why we didn't kill that sim. I guess she has TP, but I still would have confirmed the kill on the TP. Oh. Yeah. Just unfortunate. Should have called, but you know me. I do be knowing you. I do be knowing that you get better at things day by day. Was that a big conversation you guys had? So your composition does best across bridge when you can play in this open courtyard space, but it is hard to get across bridge. Um, so you need to make sure you eat concussion, fortify boop, and pull diva, and pull Lucio, and flash them all. That's kind of your interplay there. Is you have these three characters who can deny the concussion or deny the CC in some form or another. Technically, Tat can deny the CC too if he just headshots people, but that's not realistic. Just hit the headshot, lol. But yeah, your composition does better in this space because you want this distance to be able to say like, okay, we're gonna post our Sigma and our McCree up in here, and then we're gonna put the rest of our team down in this kind of like main area, and then we're just gonna pincer them here, and then if they decide to go on point, then we just put our Sigma there. What the fuck is wrong with me? And then we put our Orisa in one of these two locations. You should never be more than really a door frame away from one another. Like if Sigma's holding one door frame, Orisa should be holding the one next to it. So it's just a little bit better for spacing to go this way. But if you're having a lot of trouble with the concussions, I would say like go this way. So for scrims, don't go white room for bunker. Just don't do it. Because practice getting across the bridge. In an actual game, if you just cannot get across the bridge, then go white room, stop feeding, you know? But if you're going to go white room, you might as well just run rush because bunker kind of struggles in this space normally. And the main reason, and it's not such a big struggle that you can't get over it. The main reason is because how do you push this and what do you claim and defend after that? So if they're running a rush composition and sitting on point and they want you to come to them, then you have to just sit in white room at a linear angle, just playing this one sight line. If they're playing another bunker or dive or something like that, then sure, you could walk forward and then you could play a little bit closer because it won't be as big a disadvantage once you get in close range. But if you're playing against Orion specifically, you can't get that close to him because he likes cleaving you. So playing from this angle means that you just have a harder time pushing forward and confirming kills. And while in this space, you can openly use all of the open space and like actually create flanks and opportunities a little bit easier. For sure. For shizzy. He is. I guess it's not that hard, right? Just hit the headshot. Never mind. What the fuck was I saying? Just yeah. Eat across the bridge or shields above Chloe, because that concussion. Yeah. Yeah. But that. Yeah. So that's just gonna come like you're gonna trust your tanks to protect you from concussion, and then you're gonna just push underneath them to make it as easy as possible for them to protect you. I actually don't understand why we're still, um, oh my god, I don't understand why we're backing because we're in an even fight right now because we got a pick on the Lucio. Okay. So there was just general chaos happening here. What? Conflict. The curse returns. Yeah, I love the little hop. Oh my god. No, yeah. General chaos. Do we even want to keep looking at it? I want a gif of complex. Okay. Alright, what else? What next? Send the code. Yeah. No, we could do it again tomorrow. I mean, unless you guys don't want to. Okay. Mm-hmm. This map was pretty interesting because you guys were like pretty close to figuring it out. Like you had some pretty good ideas. It was just the execution was a little bit interesting. So you're gonna see the same thing again when you guys actually figure out that you want to go to the right side. Um, let's actually watch it from this angle here. So we'll be able to see how much gap you leave the enemies to do damage from this angle, and then you're gonna see the lamp come out. Y'all just like fox-trotted right across the open gap. Y'all really had the audacity to go across a battlefield in World War II. You just stepped out of the trenches and y'all were like, I don't need a helmet. um. Oh my god. Also, I don't know. Does somebody step into this? Okay. Yeah, alright, it does. Because it's low enough, I guess. I wasn't sure if that was counted as line of sight, but it is. This is good. This is good. Yeah, so in this situation, Complex shield the low angle, Chloe shield the high angle, because Tat's going to go for a peek here, and it's not a bad peek. Oh, your shield broke. That's unfortunate timing. And he's just going to get... Yeah. I don't think it matters too much, but if you wanted to think about min-maxing, I like that logic. Because your shield is rechargeable while complexes is a cooldown, so blocking less damage with the recharge is probably a little bit better, so you can get it back. I like this. This is good. Okay, what are your cooldowns looking like? Okay. So, if you're gonna do this, Chloe, I really like what you do here. The only thing I don't like is that you use all of your resources to get to the spot. So I want to see this from your perspective more fully. So your shield is there. Okay, so it's low now. You eat reflexively, which is not bad because sometimes you just need to catch quick damage. This shielding, I think, is where you start to mess up a little bit. So I think you chill on that low ground a little bit because essentially what you can do here is because Sigma is so independent and typical is getting back with the team in a very safe manner, what you can do is you can pressure point, and then if anybody pushes you, they're going to be pushing into your team's line of sight. But because you use all your defensive resources really early, when your team isn't ready to actually cover you, you don't have any ability to sustain on point. So you actually wind up giving up the space, and even still you use your shield a little bit when you're not actually touching. So if you want to use in this situation, your goal is not to confirm kills, it's just to touch point and force this Orisa to be here. Once she's there, I don't mind you backing off or going somewhere else a little bit, but you should be using your defensive resources in consolidated fashion, which is to say, like, don't just throw them up willy-nilly. You want to be throwing them up to protect you while you do specific things, right? So I'm touching point. I need to be protected while I'm touching point. Let me put my shield up, you know? Yeah, this is good so far. Okay, you're a little bit forward here. I think, is this BAP going to mess up? No, this... Yeah. Yeah. That was a triple stun. What would have been nice... okay, let's look at this from overhead. Let's make the small adjustments. Because you guys, like I said, are really, really close. It's just the execution isn't quite there. Okay, so Tat, you're back now. Let's go a little bit further back. God damn it. Do that again, do that. Go a little bit further back. Alright, this is the situation that we want. Okay. I like these rotations. I talked about the close stuff already. This is good on part of positioning from everyone. So this is, and I hate myself for doing it for the 10th fucking time. But either way. So once you regroup, you should hold that angle in that position typical. If you want to take this attack, you need to take these people with you. Or at least Yawn. You need something more to be able to actually break through to this damage, unless you're going to hard carry in this situation. Which, unfortunately, I'm not counting on anyone hard carrying because I think it's just an inconsistent thing to count on. So you should at least have Yawn go with you, but you're super unprotected if you do that with the two of you, and it's not super worth it like that. If you play from this angle, sure, you're not going to get a lot of value, but your role isn't to punish in the long range. That's why Tat's playing Ashe, is because at this range, he's going to get a ton of value compared to their characters. You are much better in situations like punishing this Orisa who's putting pressure on your Sigma. This is your range. This is your comfort zone. It's essentially what I'm saying is a much nicer way of saying stay in your lane, right? So you want to look to optimize what you're doing by playing within your hero's role and their kit. Tat, when you come back, don't come back to the flank angle. Try to come back as often as you can to your tanks. Because if you had come back to where Chloe was, you would have gotten this nice, and, you know, if everybody had gone according to kind of like a general plan, Sarissa should be dead meat. Yeah? What were you going to say, though? Yeah. Also, you don't... you don't want them to look at you. The job of drawing attention should be going to your tanks because they're the only ones who could survive the Zen volley, the fucking Ash headshots, the Sigma rock, all of that stuff. If anybody turn and even like accidentally 180s you with those abilities, you're dead again. So if we had done that, I think we had some really good opportunities. I think we still have some really good opportunities here. So maybe a few shots go the other way. This still works out just fine. But I think we're depending on those shots to roll a different way when we go here. You know, like we're not allowed to make mistakes mechanically when we do this. And I like to play a lot safer because it's just statistically better. You know, that's usually how pro plays optimize is they just play for percentages because why not? Yeah, you guys called it, but this is a lost fight. Jump off the map. I mean, you got an ult out, so that's pretty good. Oh, well, yeah, I guess she was already ulting. Yeah, so that just wasted a few, like, 10 seconds that we could have had back on the clock. Like, we could have already been pushing up at that point, I think, if you guys had just jumped off the map. That's an eat. As soon as you see that pull come out, Chloe, that's an eat. This is not great. The tanks are doing good of sticking together, but what stopped that? What caused that hesitation or that space? So Tat's already trailing. Why? So here we're good, right? This is fine. A little bit spread. A little bit spread still. We're not like collapsing together again. We should be hugging that corner a little bit more. Pull's going to bring us together, which was very nice of them if you think about it. Okay, you linger a little too long here, Tat. We get the pick, which is good, though. No, you're a little bit behind. Frosty's going to turn around to heal you, which is going to delay her. I think everybody takes a second to cover the angle since you're behind. And the tanks don't notice shit. So they just go yeet and across the bridge, and all you are trailed behind. Yep. No, that's fine. Yeah, it looks like everyone looked back and then the tanks didn't, so it was a matter of like they were ready to go. That's Yeah, that's not too bad. Chloe, when your shield goes up, you're able to look to the left and to the right. So try to use some of those opportunities. Like when you're eating, you can't look left and right. But when your shield is up, you can. Complex, you can always like make sure the team is together because you're not technically like trying to shield forward. Like you're not a Reinhardt. You don't need to look at the enemies while you're transitioning. So you could use that to help like make sure that you're pacing along with the team and stuff like that. Small things will help that with understanding your camera angle and such. That was unfortunate. This is a good ultimate. I thought this trance was pretty good because Frosty died. If Tad had stayed alive, this would have been a great trance. But I thought it was only pretty good because Tad died. So this is the example of like an ultimate can negate a death. Because we lost our main heals, so when everyone got critical, we supplemented main heals with Transcendence. Which means that main heals can use that time to come back, and then we can just recharge all of our defensive cooldowns while Trance is going up. So it's like, you know, Trance goes up, we drop our Sig Shield, right? We make sure that all our cooldowns are coming back, and then as Trance dies, we put all of our defensive cooldowns back up so we don't take any damage, so that we negate, again, the need for a healer. And then hopefully by that time, Frosty is in a position to be back with the team, and it's like nothing ever happened. So this is not bad. Complex, I think you needed to kind of play that same angle with the team and make sure that your shield was getting down there and that you were eating some bullets with your body, but not super upset with that. This was good. Very minimal damage. No need for lamp. This is not good. Very spaced out. Very little protection. Early Bob, but I think we kind of get out here pretty fast, so that's fine. Okay, well, maybe it's not fine, because Bob is able to it gets burned before we can really do anything. This shield is too far from the ledge, complex. Typically you're going to want a high noon in a more forward spot, probably a little bit, and calm it before, because I don't think you calmed that you were going to use this high noon. But your team should be protecting you, but I thought this was alright for the most part. Torb gets some good picks. Yeah. I would assume. Let's look at how that damage got through. So we're all full health and good here. This is a pretty good position for our damage dealers. Ooh, Tat doesn't get pulled off, which is good. Goddamn. Okay, shield goes down. Tat's a little bit too far to the left. And then the shield drops, and there's nothing else to protect Frosty from some spam. Looks like she just kind of got beat out by the Echo Torp spam getting past the shield. Chloe's doing her own thing for right now. And then we're going to fall apart after that because the Flux is going to come out. Yeah, when you take this high ground, you're generally going to take it because you want to put people up here who are good at this range. When you do that, you want to try to bunker as 6 instead of splitting, because you're going to need all of your resources as a defensive unit to protect the people who are supposed to be dealing all the damage until you get some sort of advantage. So for Chloe, it would have been better to probably spam this small cubby down here because that's within your range. But I think your shield was needed for the team to block from the Echo, to eat from the Torb stuff, to body block and take some shots, and then, to alleviate some pressure by getting earlier damage in. But the shield being a little bit far back kind of slowed down our ability to put pressure, and I think it gave a bit more space than we would have wanted. So all in all, I don't think too bad, but again, I think it comes down to the execution. Correct theory, a little bit of a sloppy execution. Yeah. Let's just talk about defense. Let's not look at the defense, because it wasn't very pretty. Let's just straight up talk about positions on defense and what you could do. Does that sound good? Cool. I'm going to go for it. All right. So generally we do want to play this kind of like basin, this bowl right here where you can look down at point and stuff like that. But there's a few distinct features that we want to note about this map. And the first is going to be Mega Room. Mega Room is super duper important because it allows you to remain in cover. It controls the staircase to get up to this high ground, and the Mega allows you to like alleviate healing pressure from your supports. So it's just super good for tempoing. Generally, what you'll want to, like what I was trying to recommend in some fashion was that you do a split where you have the main team sit up here, and this main team should be a team of 4, because this force needs to be considerable. There needs to be a notable amount of damage, and there's not really many places to rotate. I'll talk about what you guys wind up. Well, you guys wind up backing up here, which is a huge no-no. You want to play into this area, into this building on the right here, instead of backing up, because not only is there this pit here, but as you saw, they were able to take advantage of this huge coast area here to just boot complex off. So while it's not bad to make this rotation if you really, really need to, generally this space right here, this whole bridge space, that first section, is just way, way too dangerous to like cross casually or even back up into. So you can't really do that. What I thought would be good was to have Chloe in this area, because her spam range is about here, and because she'll have sight on this area, she'll be able to know where her positioning needs to be in order to counter the enemies like rotations and stuff like that. So if they wind up pushing up to where she is, it's a matter of the same thing that I was talking about on King's Row, where you spam the angle, and every time you get a hit confirmation, you know that you just keep running away. You don't even need to see the enemies all the way. You're just going to spam the angle as they approach. If they go underneath, then they can't do anything if you just spam them from behind and wait for them to pass you until you can get big damage from behind them while the rest of your team is doing this damage from the other end, right? So this is just a great place for taking advantage of both of those rotations, especially as a Sigma, because they're within your range. If they go towards Garage and go to what is the defender's right side, then all it means is that Chloe has to either rotate downstairs to play from this down angle, which I think is a little bit less optimal, but allows her to play from point and control Mega. Or she takes that rotation with typical all the way around to try to get value from this side. Again, the issue is this space here, but for Chloe, she has the ability to shield towards the sky and eat any projectile CCs that come through. So it's a little bit safer for her to traverse these spaces when CCs actually get thrown at her. So all of this space here means that the four of you are safely dealing damage from this cubby area and then playing into this room when you need cover. But it also means that you have sight lines that are readily available, and your rotations are very minimal because you have so many sight lines. And then Chloe has the ability to basically pick and choose where she wants to take her fight in order to open up opportunities for the main formation to get value out of their large amounts of damage. Does anybody have any questions on that kind of formation? Cool. I honestly right now can't think of any other way to run bunker in the way that we're playing it besides that one. If anybody has any ideas, feel free to let me know or let us know, whether it's right now or going forward. But does anybody have any questions or anything they want to say about first point defense specifically? Okay. Are you guys frying yet? Is everybody good? I've been fried. Okay. So let's pause here. We can pick up the rest tomorrow. I'm eating like an apple, like you're eating a tomato as if it was an apple. Please say yes. Oh, okay. So yeah, we could pick this up more tomorrow. I'll upload both the recordings. The recording of the scrims will have some long periods, like during Anubis, where you can't see anything. But I did do my best to at least record comms. And just let me know if there's any other maps that you want to get through or go over. We'll be able to look at them tomorrow and stuff like that. But try to get some rest for tonight and be ready to get back into it again for a bit tomorrow. Sound good?